Good afternoon, everyone. Well, we had to do this special broadcast today due to a particular circumstance that has a lot of us kind of racked. So we're here to discuss a missing child, missing 13 or 15-year-old, excuse me, girl, Janiyah Dawson. She's been missing for about a week. Now, let me preface this with everyone involved that we are aware of are all teenagers, with the exception of the parents. But given the circumstances, Janiyah has been missing for about a week. It is very much possible that she is with an ex uh, partner or a current partner of the same age or a similar age. And so we're very concerned. Her mother has been very concerned. There's been some concerning text messages and videos and threats that were made. So we are hoping to bring Janiyah home safely. Our intention is not to criminalize or vilify any child that's involved in this. However, like we have to be honest about like the safety concerns here, right? Like and the violence that has taken place thus far. So I want to take some time to speak with Janiyah's mother, Josie. Josie's in the studio with us today as well. Hey, Josie, how are you doing? How are you?
I'm I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in there. Yeah.
That's understandable. I couldn't imagine what this might feel like right now for you. Definitely praying for you, your family, and your daughter for sure. Um, so, can we start with when did you notice that your daughter was missing?
Friday morning, my husband and I, she was here, she was fine. My husband and I went to clean out the church, and we got a phone call from my youngest daughter that she was gone.
Okay. And were there any like strange circumstances? Did you all have a fight prior to a disagreement? Was there anything going on there?
So prior to her leaving, and we didn't have a disagreement. She did get in trouble because I caught Zamaya breaking into my house. She did get in trouble for that. She got in trouble for that on Monday. The school was informed and she was fine. She was like, I'll take my punishment and I'll be fine. And the only punishment I gave her was to take away her phone, and she wasn't allowed to leave the house. She came home and she was acting normal. Everything was fine. I still allowed her to even watch movies on her laptop. So I didn't punish her severely as she should have been punished.
Okay. And can you tell us who is Zamaya?
Zamaya I used to foster her. Zamaya is one of my I used to foster her and her siblings. So she was really close with our family. But when I noticed that she was being aggressive towards my children, I had CYF remove Zamaya from my house. So she's an old foster child that I used to have.
Okay. And so when Zamaya, you said she broke into the home and this was in correlation or connection with Janiyah, did they have some sort of standing relationship, friendship, anything like that?
So prior to Monday, Zamaya, I had a report already from last year, and Janiyah and Zamaya were to have no contact at all. The police told me that, the police and CYF told me that I couldn't remove Zamaya from church, so she was still allowed to go to church, which was fine. But I changed my daughter's phone number. I changed my daughter's everything that Zamaya could have contacted her on. I changed it. So if they did have communication and contact, I wasn't aware.
Okay. And to your knowledge, when last year, when you severed those ties, what was Jania's take on it? Was she comfortable with that decision? Did she not want that to happen? What was her feelings around them two being separated?
So at first, she was crying, and I asked her, like, is there something going on? Like, why are you crying so hard? And she said, well, Zamaya said that if she goes home, her mother's going to kill her, and I don't want my friend to die. And I explained to Janiyah that Zamaya's mom was not going to kill her, and that is CYF's job, not Janiyah's job, which is another reason why I had CYF remove Zamaya, simply because she was pouring all this stuff onto my daughter. And my daughter is, at the time, she was, 14 going on 15. She can't handle all that. And after that, I took away her phone, just to like, okay, we're going to calm everything down. So I took away, and then she came to me and she was like, you know what, Mom, you were right. And I thank you, because that was a lot and it was just ruining my life. That's how we left it.
That's heavy. That's really, really heavy. I'm feeling for all of the kids, right? Zamaya as well. Like, I can imagine even feeling those sorts of feelings toward a parent, or even like saying those sorts of words, even if the feelings aren't there, But that doesn't change the fact that this current circumstance is not safe. So once you realized your daughter was gone, what did you do after that? Like, what were your moves? Did you hear anything? Did you talk to her at all?
So when as soon as my youngest called me, I just turned around, came back home, called the cops. I called the White Oak police. They were here. They circled the neighborhood, and they said that she left in a car, because there's no way you can get off these hills that fast. So they did circle the neighborhood, and then they did a missing child's report for me. And then he said that if I heard anything, so just call 911, call them, and they'll be out. And from there, I still haven't heard anything from my daughter. I haven't talked to her. I still haven't heard from her, and it's been 5 days. So when my son heard what was going on, he rushed home, and he started looking for his sister. And he told me that she had to be with Zamaya simply because prior to all of this, he caught Zamaya shaking my daughter. And he jumped out the car and grabbed his sister and told Zamaya like never to put hands on his sister again. So that's how we kind of figured that Zamaya had something to do with this. And as soon as like we started asking questions, we started receiving death threats from Zamaya.
Wow. And so I'm thinking about a couple of things. For one, I'm wondering about what type of relationship your son and Zamaya had prior to this. And also, when you say we were receiving death threats, who is we?
So in Zamaya's videos, she said she wanted my son in a body bag. She said she wanted to blow up my house. And she was like, your mom will keep looking for your sister and she'll never find her. And she was like, the language, I'm not going to subject myself to repeat all the stuff that she said. And it's like, are you serious? Like, did you forget the fact that I'm not even going to go there, but yeah. So she said a lot, and it was about 13 or 15 videos. And then she started texting me Like, you're just mad I got your daughter. You just mad that I was in your house. And then she sent me videos and she sent me pictures. She was like, you just mad. And then she was like, you got your daughter confused because of that stupid ass book you wrote.
What is she talking about there?
So I published a book about my own story of domestic violence that I went through. So if my daughter is reading the book and is confused, it's because she's probably going through it with her. So, and then like friends have been sending me messages about just simply Zamaya being rough with her and Zamaya always, bullying her or just putting her hands on her. And I didn't know any of this up until this.
So Zamaya, it sounds like, pretty much confirmed that she has your daughter. They're at least together.
Yeah. And there's been different students from the McKeesport School District. Oh my gosh, those kids are like awesome. They've just been, anything they find out, they send it to me. Or they'll text Zamaya on purpose. And based off her responses, she knows she has my daughter. She knows where she's at. And she plotted this whole thing together.
Okay, so you said McKeesport School District is this where Zamaya is located? Is this where you feel your daughter is? And has the McKeesport police been engaged at all?
So Zamaya is not from McKeesport. She goes to the Woodland Hills School District. Or at least when I had her, she was at the Woodland Hills School District. She's been hanging in McKeesport with some other girls. And her foster mom reported that she had been leaving her house to come hang in McKeesport with her biological mom or some other girls that she knows. My daughter, however, is in the McKeesport School District and is very well known. She's so nice. So everybody just, yeah. And as far as your question with the police, I have notified McKeesport police. It took every time they would go knock on the address that was provided where they should be at. And I was told that they couldn't go in without a warrant, even though the girl who notified me that Monday night there was a party at that house there, and she gave me the names of everybody that was in there. I had her call the police since they considered me a third party.
Looks like we might have lost Josie a moment ago. So if you have just tuned in, we're here with Josie Dennison. She is searching for her daughter, Janiyah Dawson, who's been missing for about a week now, for 5 days. Her daughter went missing. She's likely, it sounded like she's either being held captive or she has perhaps partially ran away with a former foster sibling and possible partner, Zamaya Kelly, or Shelley, excuse me, Zamaya Shelley. If you have any information, if you've seen either Janiyah or Zamaya, please do contact Josie Dennison. She can be reached on Facebook pretty easily. If you'd like additional support, you can reach out to Take Action Mon Valley at 412-440-8268, and they can also provide some assistance. So far, Josie has shared with us that, again, there was about a week ago, Zamaya has broken into the house where Janiyah was, and mom caught her, and Janiyah was punished for that exchange, which seemed to happen, go over pretty amicably until she noticed that her daughter was gone. And then shortly after was receiving text messages and videos of taunting from Zamaya saying that, like, you're just mad that your daughter's gone and I got her. There were death threats to Josie's family, it sounds like, including her son, who's witnessed physical violence from Zamaya to Janiyah at one point, also like death threats towards the son as well. So we have Josie back here in the studio. Josie, you were just speaking on the engagement with the police.
Yeah, sorry, I lost connection for a minute. But yeah, so after I filed the missing persons report, I sent the White Oak police, asked McKeesport police to be on alert. Somebody texted me and was like, she's at this house. I was just there. So the police said all they can do is go and knock. And I asked them, okay, well then go and knock. And then they said, oh, Zamaya said that Janiyah's not there. And I'm like, you're going off of the word of the child who's supposed to be holding my daughter? Like, and they was like, we can't get a search warrant based on a third party. So I told them, since I'm considered a third party, I'll let you speak to the girl who actually was there. She said, yes, ma'am, I will call them right now. And she did. They never went. So I called back and I was like, hey, is anybody going to go check on my daughter? And it was like, all we can do is knock. Like, we're going to keep, I'm like, and then go keep knocking until you get an adult to the door, at least. Like, you're going off the word of a 15-year-old. And then there's other kids in there. Is anybody saying anything about that? Nothing. So what I ended up doing was Monday morning, I ended up going to White Oak police. I'm like, since McKeesport feel like they're not going to go look for my daughter, I'll go to another police station, my home police station. So when I went to them and I showed them the text messages, I showed them the videos, and they were like, okay, something else got to be done. I went to go get emergency PFA. Since and the little girl was texting me and she was like, I have your daughter on the phone right now and she's scared. And I'm like, scared, like, what's going on? And I asked her, did she seem okay? She was like, no, every time she tried to leave, Zamaya tried to fight her, or Zamaya wouldn't let her leave. And every time somebody knocks on the door, Zamaya would say that she doesn't know her. And so when I showed all of this proof to the White Oak police, they were like, okay, we have to take some different action. So they ended up calling the police and making them go over there and telling them just stand there. And I'm like, just stand there and talk to an adult. Still didn't happen. So I went downtown, got emergency PFA, and they told me to bring it to the White Oak police and they'll make sure that the McKeesport police get it. And I brought it to the McKeesport police myself. And then White Oak can get their copy later, but I brought it to the McKeesport police myself. And the guy was like, well, I was just there, so I'm not sure what you want me to do. I want you to find my daughter. That's what I want you to do. And I'm like, you have the emergency PFA. And I asked him, do you want to see all these threats? Do you want to see all this stuff this girl's been doing? And I'm like, no, there's nothing I could do with that. Well, go find my daughter. Like, I'm telling you where she is. And the sad part about this whole thing is the mom knew. I have pictures on my daughter's phone. The parent to that house, she knew what was going on. And today, after I done filed a PFA, after I done had the cops out there like 50 million times, I had to get Kelly from McKeesport AGOP Center to call mayors, and the cops, oh yes, ma'am, we're gonna make this a priority. If it was a priority when I first told y'all, you would have my daughter. But because you gave them 5 days, they're gone. So now what? And then the White Oak police, they were like, they can't, I guess the jurisdiction stuff. But he was saying, like, all you have to do is stand there until an adult comes. And if adult doesn't come, then CYF needs to be called. This would have solved the issue 5 days ago. I called the CYF people because Zamaya is still in the custody of CYF. I called the CYF, the same caseworker from the beginning is the same case. So he knows everything. I called him. I provided him with all the threats. I provided him with all the texts. I provided him with everything. Even the video of Zamaya leaving my house. I provided them. Nothing. So I called his supervisor. Then his supervisor took it upon himself today. After Kelly started blowing everybody up. Why did Kelly have to do that? I'm her mom. Why did a stranger have to call for you to take action? So after she did all of that, then all of a sudden I'm getting phone calls from there. Oh, we're going to make this a priority. We got, like, for real, it should have been a priority. So they, the supervisor went in and he checked the house. He said he checked the house from the basement to the whatever, wherever they checked the house at. I'm like, you're 5 days late, dude. You're 5 days late. Now I have to go look for my daughter when I told you where she was at. Multiple people told you where she was at. Nobody cared.
Wow. Wow. There's so much. First of all, the fact that another police department had to go and tell a police department what to do is insane. And then the fact that they still didn't do anything is also insane. The fact that it took 5 days for anyone to respond and for someone else at an organization to reach out and blow the phone up when you, an eyewitness, couldn't get past is absolutely insane. Like, and well, let me change my language. I'm trying to get certain words out of my lexicon, but this is not okay. Like, this is violent, right? Like, there's nothing okay about that. There's nothing okay about that. Who, if anyone knows who is the police chief in McKeesport Police, please drop their information and the phone number there. And also, I want to make note that today is the McKeesport council meeting. Fawn and from Take Action Mon Valley has been posting about it. We have up until 6:15 today to get on the list to speak. If you have the time and with the stuff, I would definitely hop on that list to speak on this particular circumstance. There's no reason why this is carried on as far as it has. That's violent. Anything that, and praying that it doesn't, like praying that these are kids being kids, and we get Janiyah back home safe immediately. But if anything happens to her or Ismaya or anyone else that's involved, that's on the police department, because y'all could have stopped that a long time ago, and CYF. But yeah, all of y'all. So, Josie, I did have a question. You said that you had some sort of protection order a year ago. Is it still active, or am I misremembering what you said?
So when the kids were removed, I was getting threats then. So I called the White Oak police, and they were like, "Do you want to press charges?" And I told them, "No, I don't want to press charges. Like, these are just kids, and they're upset. And I'm pretty sure their mom's upset." So I told them, "No, I don't want to press charges. I just want you to record this report and call them and tell them to stay away." So he did. He called the caseworker. He called CYF. He called the caseworker's manager. He called the mom and told them, stay away. And he told me he had it on file. So if anything ever happened, we can refer back to that, which is what we did when I filed the missing persons report. He pulled up all the reports I'd had prior for the same people.
So all of this is on record. It's like spanning back to a year, and yet that didn't trigger an automatic warrant or a purpose, a reason to enter the home, especially when there's a child that's answering the phone, not an adult, but a child, and nothing was done in McKeesport.
Yep, that's exactly how it went. I've been fighting this for a year, and everything I've done to keep this girl away from my daughter. And I feel like had everybody did their jobs correctly, it wouldn't even got this far. Zamaya is a ward of she's property of the state. Why is she out here? Her home is in Munhall. Why is she out here? Why can she roam the streets freely? She obviously is a child that needs help. Why is she doing all this stuff? She obviously needs help. Somebody needs to step in and help her. You guys had years to do this. And then when she came to my house, I sought all the help possible for her. I couldn't do it. So I extended it to somewhere greater than me. Still nothing. And now this is the end result.
Yeah. There's definitely, I mean, this 15-year-old child with so much clear pain and trauma that's turning into transgression and violence. I wonder about how many missed opportunities there were to catch her. But also, I'm also holding the fact that accountability is love, and what she's doing now is super violent, and that has to be, she has to be held accountable for that. But more importantly, we need to get Janiyah home. This is clearly not a safe situation. And so that everyone is clear, I have seen the text messages, I've seen the videos. Everything that Josie is speaking on right now is absolutely as horrific as you could think of. Like, that's pretty much what it is. And they're extensive too, right? They've been spanning for these past 5 days. So if anyone has eyes on Janiyah, and if we could pull her picture up one more time so that folks can see her face. Or if anyone has eyes on Samaya, please do contact Josie. You can contact Take Action Mon Valley. You can text them at the number below, 412-440-8268, for additional support. Contact whatever local authorities you feel is appropriate, but keeping in mind that these are all kids, right? Just being careful about the way that we're approaching things, but also prioritizing Janiyah's safe return, her safety and health in this circumstance. So Josie, we're going to pull Josie back up here. Or no. We'll give it a minute to recalibrate, this virtual stuff. But while we wait for Josie to come back on board, I do want to remind you all that the McKeesport council meeting is tonight. We have up until 6:15 this evening to get on the list of speakers. The way the McKeesport Police Department has handled this circumstance is absolutely deplorable. Absolutely deplorable. If anything happens to any of these kids involved, it is absolutely their fault. There has to be accountability in this case. This cannot continue to be the way that our babies are handled, and particularly our Black babies, right? And let's not skate past that as being an absolute fact, right? In factor, McKeesport Police dropped the ball to the point that another police department had to tell them what to do. And then they still did not do it, right? There's ample opportunity for them to have acted. So we didn't reach this point, and here we are. So if anything is to happen to any of these children, they are absolutely at fault. So if you do have the time, I would definitely stack their agenda today, speak on this particular circumstance, and everybody in McKeesport should be all hands on deck, particularly these agencies, right? Public safety agencies, because that's your job. And because you didn't do it, now we're here. So Josie, do you have any thoughts on, well, I'm not even gonna ask you that, but I would say, what do you need from the community right now?
So as of now, I just want my baby home. I don't care about the rest. I just want her home, and then I can handle the rest later. I mean, I can do what I need to do later, but right now, I just want my daughter home. That's it. So if you see her, I mean, I give you full permission to snatch her, grab her, call me, call somebody, and they'll come get her. They will come get her. Everybody's on alert. If you see her, just grab her and just remind her that she's loved. We miss her. And I mean, I text the young lady and told her, let my daughter know that I'm doing everything I can to get her back. So that's all I can ask for right now, is for my baby to come home.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for having the strength and the wherewithal to do this show today. It's super important that we're all on deck, right? Looking for your child and making sure that she is safe and transition back to you. Again, if anyone has any information, if you see her on the street, if you see a little girl that looks like her and you think it might be her, snap a picture, say her name, try to get in contact with her, try to get her away from anyone that she is with, and contact her mother immediately. Contact whatever appropriate authority or community support you might be aware of to make sure that this child is home safe and sound. And I want to make note of abuse. Abuse is often psychological. I'd say always psychological. And so, like, not often, sometimes, when it comes to psychological and emotional abuse, we don't realize that we're being abused until it's too late. So it's very, very common for someone to walk with their attacker without realizing that that's the circumstance that they are in. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, not only for Janiyah, but also for yourselves and your loved ones and your teenagers. Josie, before we end today, is there anything else that you want to say to your daughter, to Zamaya, to McKeesport Police, any of us, anybody?
So I did want to say to the community, thank you guys, like, for all the love and just pouring in with the messages and the tips. I thank you guys so very, very much. And I know if we work together, you guys may not even know me, but you guys just been doing it. And I thank y'all for that. And for Janiyah, we can't wait for you to come home. We still love you regardless. We do understand that all kids make mistakes. And if I'm pretty sure I understand what you're going through, simply because I too, as you've witnessed, came out of domestic violence. So I'm here for you. I love you. Can't wait to see you. And I'm just praying that Zamaya gets what Zamaya gets. Help, whatever it may be.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And just a reminder, if you see Janiyah or Zamaya, you can text Take Action Mon Valley at 412-440-8268. They are our sisters in the fight. Very, very powerful. Fawn Walker Montgomery is a very powerful person on the ground, as is the rest of her team. So you can certainly reach out to them for additional support or advice on how to proceed if you do happen to see either of these girls. Otherwise, if you do have the time tonight, we have until 6:15 to hop on the agenda for the McKeesport Council meeting. We definitely need to tell McKeesport Police Department about themselves and how they failed this child and these children and this mother in this case. This is not okay, by no means, the way that this was handled. And again, let me remind you that another police department had to tell them what they should do, and they still did not do it. It was 5 days before anyone went into the home where Janiyah was being held. And it took for an outside person, an agency, to call and beat down the doors of CYF before anything happened, before that even happened. We didn't have to get to this point. It didn't have to happen this way. It did not. So if you do have the time, please definitely hop on the agenda today for the McKeesport. You can definitely do that. That information is posted, I believe, on the Take Action Mon Valley Facebook page, so you can get that information there. If you have any information, any tips, if you see the girl, if you see someone who looks like the child, take a picture, say her name, try to get her away from. If you see her with Zamaya, try to get her away from Zamaya. If for anything else, to check to make sure that she actually is safe and get her back home to her mother and her family. So I thank you all for tuning in today. Please share this video wide. Continue to look out for this young woman. Continue to lean into this family. If you have any support that you can offer, please definitely do. You can reach out to Miss Josie Dennison on Facebook. She's very accessible, and she just wants her baby home. So thank you all. Y'all have a good one.